Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the webinar today. This is Spencer Padgett, CoConstruct's Builder in Residence. I want you, looks like we got some folks still coming in. I want everyone to know that you are not seeing things. That date is exactly the way I feel right now. It is definitely March 61st. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and I think the only thing that's going to beat March is probably April, given everything that's shutting down right now. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce our hosts today. We should see their cameras coming up here. There's Emily. How you doing? And Spencer Powell. So as I said, I'm Spencer Padgett. I'm a custom home builder and land developer, currently serving as CoConstruct's Builder in Residence. And today we have with us Emily. Emily, would you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're at, who you work for, and what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks, Spencer. Emily Clark, Clark & Co. Homes. We are a design build firm in Boise, Idaho. I co-own the company with my husband, Dan, and we build about 12 custom homes a year here in the Boise area.
Great. Okay, super. Thanks, Spencer Powell. You're not seeing things, folks. That is my name and my last initial. Oddly enough, Spencer Powell also got it. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks, Spence. We're a digital marketing agency, so I've been running that here in Colorado Springs for 10 years tomorrow, actually. And we primarily serve the construction space, so builders, remodelers, and help them with improving their own marketing, their own lead generation.
Great. So I think we're setting a record here. I think the first time two Spencer P's have probably ever been on a webinar in one webinar. What do you think?
Got to be a Guinness book or something like that, right?
I don't know. What would be really crazy is if we were wearing the same socks.
That would be nuts. I feel like.
Yeah, probably would be nuts. How about that? That's pretty nuts, folks. Never, ever going to see that again on a webinar anywhere else. So, okay. So
I feel left out.
What's that?
I feel left out.
Oh, well, we're going to have to
You can overnight and me some socks, Spencer.
Yeah, I'll ship you some. Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. We're going to say Spencer a bunch of times on this webinar, and who knows who you're talking to, right? You've got a tough job. You've got actually the easiest job. So really quick, some webinar logistics. If you or someone in your company is not able to get all the way through this webinar, we're going to send out a link afterwards. There's going to be some resources and recording of the actual webinar, so you'll be able to see it. About 5 minutes after the webinar is over, if you go to Instagram, look up Builder in Residence. In my bio at the top will be a link to this webinar as well and some other resources. So check that out. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today's all about messaging for right now. What is the correct message that we're sending out? How to stay in front of your prospects right now, and then pivoting to leverage the new normal, and we're going to try to describe what that new normal is because it's literally changing every day. And then we're going to get into sharpening the saw. If you've been on these webinars before, you know that there's some things at the very end. We try to leave you with some resources that'll help you execute on some of the things we talk about. So here's the question I got for everybody. Like, is your head spinning? Like, it seems like every time you turn on the television, you watch the next half an hour, it's like something you wouldn't have considered have been possible the day before. I mean, things are changing. You can't really follow it, and you don't know exactly how to react, right? And you think I'm talking about COVID-19, but I'm not. I don't know if anyone's actually knows what this show is, but if you don't, you will. So in any case, seriously though, relating to what's going on right now, this is just from this morning, right? Like, it's constantly changing. Number of people that are sick, both around the world and in our country, the places that we can work, and if you can work, should you work, and what is your personal situation and how is it impacting? all of this stuff, it's not just impacting us as builders and remodelers, it's impacting our customers, it's impacting our bankers, our inspectors. Everybody involved in our project teams are getting just totally annihilated every day with different things flying at them. So how do you message to these customers, to these other people in your sphere while all of this is going on? So let's dig in, and by the way, that map is on the NAHB website. If you want to see it, it gives a long list of all the states and the municipalities and websites and things like that. So check that out. Let's dig into topic number one though. Messaging for right now. It's, I see Instagram, I see Facebook, and I'm seeing a lot of different messages, and it seems to me that some of them might have been on cruise control and maybe started a month or two ago and haven't caught up to today. And so my first question to Spencer and to Emily is, are our social marketing campaigns tone deaf right now? And what has shifted with our customers? And we all kind of know the big picture there, but what are some of the details of what's shifted with our customers and we need to shift along with it? Spencer, you want to start?
Sure, yeah, I'll jump in. And yeah, I think you saw that in the first few weeks, those of us that maybe are used to scheduling social media content out and that sort of thing. And so to your point, just seeing some of that on cruise control. But yeah, I think the shift that needs to happen, whether you're doing it prior or not, is kind of, I always think about starting from a foundation of being helpful, and so that is a method of marketing that we've subscribed to for about a decade, more of like this inbound marketing process, which is, hey, I'm going to add some value out into the world, and then I know some value will come back to me. And so I think, a lot of us maybe had some of those messages that were queued up, and it definitely misfired. And so I think there needs to be a rapid adjustment in terms of that overall strategy. But I think that if you kind of keep that in mind moving forward, that's a good place to start, is how can I be helpful, even if it's not directly serving my business? Home office tips, setting that up, and hey, that's helpful content. It helps your brand awareness, it gets you out there, but it's timely, it's relevant, and it actually means something to the audience.
Yeah, that's correct. And Emily, did you guys did you say, hey, there's a line here, we need to switch? Or like when did you recognize that was something you needed to do?
I'm on Instagram enough that I can kind of sense the general tone of people I'm watching and following along with, as well as what it feels like here in my local area. So definitely have been really sensitive to what's being put out there by other people, and within our industry and without our industry. We have a lot of people that are DMing us right now and commenting and talking about their pain points in their homes. They're stuck in their homes and they are tired of looking at certain things. So I'm getting a lot of questions about what should I do here. We're still able to build in our area, so it's been nice to be able to show some of that progression still occurring, but we're trying to be really respectful about how we approach it. Just reminding our audience that we are doing our best to social distance our trades so that we've got just one trade in at a time on a project. Yeah, all of those things.
Great. That's great. So, and I know for everyone listening, I've got 4 sons at home, so I know DM means direct message, right? Is that what you're talking about? That's like the new version of when you pick up a phone and you call somebody. I can't believe I just did the airphone on a live webinar, but I did. So that's great. So
not how it works anymore.
Yeah. So speaking of keeping your ear to the ground and listening, how are you adjusting and being sensitive, right? Like there's a sensitivity around all the things that are going on. Your customers and your sphere, the people that you're influencing or reaching, might be going through some things with COVID-19, right? They might have found out they're sick, or they might have a friend that's sick, or either possibly even died at this point. So how do you create that sensitivity? Like what are you doing? What should we not be talking about, like it says there?
Well, we recognize that we are just one of many small businesses in our area, and we're doing our best to call out other businesses that we love in the area and see about ways that we can support them. You know, we put together a few things in our Instagram stories, just featuring a lot of folks that we really enjoy and ways that you can support them and connect with them. That's a good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you know, over communication is a good policy right now, honestly. And I know a lot of people are worried about annoying their customers or, you know, prospects or anybody like that. And we've probably all received more emails from every company we've ever done business with in the last 3 months. And while you may be receiving that email and going, oh, it's another one of these emails, you do need to send those emails, especially to your customers and your active customers where you're engaged in a project if you're in the middle of a process, and letting them know, hey, here are the precautions we're taking. These are the steps that we're putting in place to add levels of safety or security. And we've been sending those types of messages out for a lot of our clientele across the country, and they're getting responses back that are saying things like, hey, thanks for being all over this. Hey, thanks for, you know, leading the charge or letting me know. And, you know, I think those are affirming messages that say, hey, you've got to do these. You've got to say, hey, we're paying attention. We know what's going on, and these are the steps we're taking. And a lot of people don't know that construction is considered an essential business in many places, most places right now. So just letting them know that may be new information to them, because we're in the industry, but they're not. They're just kind of connected in for the project, or, you know, and the context there. So those are a couple of things that I would throw out there.
You know, Spencer, that's interesting that we had a webinar last week where the builder, Lewis Builders out in California, was talking about, hey, you know, we're allowed to work, but everybody else is at home right now. And so they're watching our trucks come in and out. And there's this perception in the local community that we're not supporting, you know, the stay at home, the laws and things like that, when in fact they are. And so, you know, in carrying that conversation forward from the webinar, I found some builders out across the country are actually putting signage up in their project sites saying, hey, we are an essential business. We're trying to keep the economy moving forward in any way we can. And please rest assured that we're practicing all of the CDC recommended guidelines. So something to think about for everybody, maybe a sign in the front yard or something on your office, you know, just to help with your reputation and to help people understand that you're trying to keep America kind of moving forward and keep the economy going.
Yeah, just to build on that a little bit, put a page on your website, and if you can put a little pop-up that's a banner on the top or the bottom of your homepage that just links to everything you're doing, and then just keeping that page updated, then people can always access that information if they have concerns or they're just wondering about it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, that messaging, boy, I even got a message from Dropbox. It's like, I've never even touched anything at Dropbox, so I don't need to know, but like, it's a responsible thing for you to do as a business owner. You've got to do it, and it's going to demonstrate to them and your potential customers that you've got kind of command of the situation. You have a plan, and having a plan's half the ordeal in terms of confidence with the customer. So let's combine those last two, because it's kind of the same thing. Like, okay, we're talking a lot, but how do we keep from annoying them? And what's the overall approach that we should be taking to make sure that we're not annoying our customers? You know, Spencer, you got an opinion on that?
Sure. Yeah. I think, you know, you are trying to strike a balance, right? Of, you know, I said over communicate, but obviously we're not trying to be intrusive or, you know, obnoxious and that sort of thing. But I think the more hyper personalized you can create your message right now, the better. So for customers, maybe they're getting a different message than maybe everyone else on your email list, you know, because you're actively engaged with them. And so maybe they're getting an email as a group, but maybe it's just lots of individual emails, and it's worth the extra time and effort now to whoever they're in most communication with, have somebody send them a personal email and say, hey, we're on it, this is what we're doing, and then working out how you want to logistically move forward, if at all possible, depending on that scenario. Whereas everybody else, like, maybe they don't necessarily need to get all that detail. It could just be included in a normal update where you say, hey, here's how we're taking precautions in terms of what's going on with COVID-19. And then you have links to some other things that you have going on too. And it's kind of more of a newsletter format. And so But I do think there is some regular recurrence of needing to update, because as you said at the beginning of the webinar, things are changing every day. And so if there is kind of a major update, or your state or local area got stay-at-home orders, or those orders got extended, that's the next time for you to follow suit and say, hey, we just saw this happen. Here's what we're doing to, move along with that. And so I think it's, as long as it's in the best interest of, who you're sending the message to, I think that's where you kind of start with, should I send this message or not?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think for, especially for the custom home builders, the remodelers that are listening right now, that's a personal relationship, and it's worth the personal investment. Maybe if you're a production or semi-custom builder and you don't have customers for the homes you're building yet, that's a broad message, but definitely hyper-personalized at this time is really important. So let's go on to discussion topic number 2 here. And we're going to talk about staying in front of your prospects. Like, how do you get out there, get in front of them with that right message? And then, as we've talked about already briefly, everything about our customers' lives are shifting right now. They're all at home. They're not at their jobs. They're not all of them, but a vast majority of them are. What do you do about your product? How do you get that out there? And are there other things that you could be offering your customers in terms of products? And I mean, Emily, you've got some really good experience with this. So why don't you take a stab at answering that one? You there, Emily?
We may have lost her for a minute, but I can jump in until she comes back.
You there?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, my audio is going in and out. Not sure what's going on. Too many kids trying to jump on my Wi-Fi, I think. Yeah, we've been thinking a lot about, what's that?
Got to get the duct tape out. Get them quiet for now. Just kidding.
There are 5 of them, so busy times here. Lots of competition. Yeah, we've been thinking a lot about what other services that we can offer to our clients while we're kind of in this weird spot. One of the things that we have already had in place for quite a while now is digital downloads on our website. So those kind of came about because we were just getting a ton of questions from people, comments, direct messages from Instagram, from Facebook, from House. What's that paint color? Where can I get that light? Those kind of things. And we figured might as well put together a PDF document that we could sell and make some money off of those selections. That was a lot of time, and it took.
You there?
The website.
Well, we've kind of lost Emily there for a little bit in Boise, but I can tell you that we've got some examples of that coming up in the slideshow. And one of the things that first brought my attention to Clark and Company in Boise was the fact that they do this. They work very hard at their CoConstruct specs and selections pages. And then they had these beautifully designed homes, if you see their stuff on Instagram or Facebook. And they were actually able to monetize the work that they put into the selections and the specifications for these homes. They show a beautiful home, and then they show the specifications, and they allow people to download them. And I'll give you some examples on that. Spencer, what else? We'll just combine these two here. Building ownership of the audience, and how are we positioning ourselves as their needs shift? What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say I'll kind of echo that digital download concept, because basically what you're doing is you're turning your knowledge into another revenue stream, and that revenue stream is extremely scalable and more sustainable. So just as a general business model, this is a project-based environment where you have to sell a project, you deliver it, you sell a project. So if you want to grow your business, you have to keep selling the same number of projects. Whereas if you have this digital download concept, you can rely on that, and that could actually add some stability. Yeah. So I love that. And then I think right now it's kind of one of those times where you kind of think about just being an entrepreneur, and how you got into the business is like, hey, I might actually have to just think about other things that I could do to be helpful considering the environment right now. Maybe I did custom homes, And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 to 10 years. But right now, I might need to also offer just design consultations, and maybe I can charge for those, and it's just over the phone via Zoom, and you're getting paid to do that. Or maybe people need DIY help, so you're doing online trainings and you're charging for that, and it's a low dollar fee, but you can get a bunch of people in there. Maybe you move to exterior projects where nobody's going to be on the job site, like just deviating from what you've been doing, not throwing away the old business model, but just saying, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, this is what I'm doing, so I need to adapt and just say, what else, like putting my resources to work, where else can I turn this into a service, and maybe a smaller scale service, because people are a little bit scared about cash right now.
Yeah. One of the things that I've heard from a builder is that they're starting to do tele-maintenance or tele-warranty work. The DIY, like, hey, you don't want me to come into your home, but let's FaceTime. What's leaking, and giving some advice on how to make sure that that's getting fixed. So that's something to think about. The list there on the screen of tools that I put in there, that we all know they exist. It's just a question of, have we been able to use them? And you've got some direct experience with this stuff, Spencer. Like, how do you, if you haven't started, how do you start with blogs and getting social content and video going? Where would a builder, remodeler start if they haven't, and now's the time to do it?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the time. I mean, people are spending more time on social media, more time online, just as a function of a lot more people are at home. And so the internet is their entertainment, or just all of what they can do for the most part. I think I always start with any content. I like, blogs, video, podcasts, it's all just content in different formats. I always start with, what are the questions I'm getting in the sales process, or what questions do I get from prospects and customers? Just start answering those questions. You could sit down in front of your computer, turn on the webcam, record, put your phone on a tripod, or just have somebody in your family hold it, or selfie style, and just answer that question. Or if you don't want to get in front of the camera, write a blog post. I would argue that getting comfortable in front of the camera is a good skill set to develop. So you get some reps in now, shoot 10 of them and then delete them all and shoot the 11th and put that one out there. But if you start by answering questions, suddenly people will actually consume that content because it's helpful. So I started the webinar by saying, if you use a helpful approach, you'll do well. And if you think about email and social media, like, the only accounts you follow, they're ones that bring you value, and helping is a way to bring value. So if you want people to unsubscribe to your channels, don't be helpful or don't be entertaining. And if you want to keep them, then do the opposite. So I think that's just a super easy way to start, which is, hey, I get a bunch of questions, I'll just start answering them.
Yeah. Emily, welcome back. You good? We finished up the one section, and you can jump in when we get to the digital downloads. But of those things there, those lists, what does Clark and Company do? Do you do blogs, videos? What is it that you guys participate in?
So a blog is in the works. Right now we are gathering all of our email lists and getting ready to send out our first newsletter. One of the things that was really important to me to get a handle on this year was converting my social audiences over to email audiences, because you just never know when the algorithm can change and nobody's going to see your stuff anymore. So I want to be able to connect with our fans in a really more personal way. So working on that, one of the things that we're doing is producing a great lead magnet. The most often question that we get together a digital download of all of Clark & Co.'s favorite colors, and then we will use that to offer for a free download for people that sign up on our newsletter. We're producing more social content, lots of tips and tricks that you can see, like, from designers, how to style a shelf or things like that. And then, of course, the digital downloads we've got already.
Yeah, let's jump into those, because we've got some examples here. Spencer, yours is first here. These are some examples that you provided. Can you walk us through these 3 examples of what you've got?
Yeah, so on the left, the pause or not to pause, that's just an example of a blog post. I think it was just a good example of one, addressing reality and what's going on right now. People are wondering that, right? Should I keep going? Should I pause? And so this article kind of goes into why somebody should or shouldn't. And hey, if you're in the permitting process, like keep going. That could take months. If you're in the design phase, keep going. We can do a lot of that over video, and then obviously construction. But you can kind of address each phase and how your company is handling that. So again, this could take the form of a video, a blog post. I would definitely email this out. I would share this on social media once you've published it. So I think that's a good, just a good example of how you can go about answering a question that's coming up. Over on the right was an email. You'll see I've kind of tried to blur out some names and everything, but this was an email that went out and just said, hey, if you were planning on buying or building, hey, you still can. So acknowledging, hey, this is still possible. Here's what we're doing. We're setting up virtual meetings. You can meet our team. And so I think it accomplishes multiple things. One, yes, you can, gives the confidence, but 2, here are the precautions and the steps we're taking. And then down at the bottom was actually a response that came from that newsletter that went out. And somebody said, hey, I'm really glad to know that you guys are adapting quickly in this crisis and still serving us. And I think there just is a big unknown. People think, oh, everyone's shut down. Oh, nothing, nothing's possible. Oh, you can't get any work done. And so that's why I think just one of the easiest things, but it's extremely effective, is just letting people know, hey, we are in business, we're taking this seriously, and we're here for you, especially if people have more emergency type maintenance situations, and being able to solve those problems, whether over the phone or getting somebody out there. But obviously using all the CDC best practices.
That's really great. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. These are the types of messages that you want to send out. And I think there's so much uncertainty that your clients, especially your team, your staff, your trade partners, are looking to you for leadership right now, and being able to send that message out is critical. So let's move on to the next topic, topic number 3, which is pivoting to leverage the new normal. This, there was a lot of panic and a lot of craziness, disbelief at the beginning. Then kind of last week, it was shock. What's really happening? Everyone was, trying to figure out what the government was doing. And now we're kind of settling into this cadence, daily, news reports and press meetings and so on. We're starting to get used to it. So now we're kind of in this steady state of craziness as we see how far this COVID-19 pandemic is going to take us. So now that a lot of us are locked down, what are we going to do with this time, and how can we continue to build our brand? Because I think we all recognize that, hey, this will end at some point. And I know I'm concerned, and a lot of other builders and remodelers are concerned. How do we fill that pipeline? How do we spend our time now? How do we make sure that our brand comes out at the end of this better than it is right now? So can either of you comment on what we should be doing right now?
I know a lot of my time is spent right now just researching best ways to connect with people, things I've put off, best practices for social media interaction, and utilizing our stories more, education in the form of design seminars and things, and connecting with industry peers. We're doing all of those things just to kind of keep us occupied and tighten up our processes so that we're really ready to hit the ground running once things do start picking up again, which we are optimistic that they will.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think I love that you mentioned the online seminars. A lot of people do in-person seminars, like convert those over to webinars. Those are great educational pieces. You can record them. You can use those as downloads later, where you capture a name and an email and use that for your lead gen. I think now is a really good time to reach out to past customers and work on building reviews on Google, or getting video testimonials. say set up a Zoom meeting and just hit record and talk to the person about their experience, but then you can start adding that stuff to your YouTube channel, your website, Facebook, etc. Because people are at home and they do have more time, and they're probably more willing to do something like that right now, whereas it's always really challenging to get video testimonials and reviews because everyone's busy. But at least that is something you can. So I think about what are the ways you can build some marketing assets right now that will benefit you moving forward. And then there's, I really like, one of our clients was doing something pretty cool, but they're raffling off gift cards to local businesses that really need help. Could be restaurants or whoever it is. If people follow them on social media and tag some friends, and they'll do a drawing. So that can help kind of build your awareness on social media, but you're doing something great for the community. And so again, that may not bring you business today, but you're building your brand and building some awareness by doing something good to actually contribute, to what's going on. So those are a couple of things that come to mind for me. And then I would say just spend any time that was drive time or other things that you can't do right now and put it all into marketing, shooting videos, writing blog posts, being on social media, because that will pay dividends down the road for sure.
Yeah, and that gets into that next topic. There is, there's so much noise out there. How do you reach through in an authentic and engaged way? And you talked about it. Both of you mentioned it. Local business support. It's the thing that's happening right now. I've seen builders across the country who've said, hey, we're going to go to our job sites, we're going to go to our trades and our suppliers, try to find as many N95 masks as we can, and then we're going to get them to the hospitals, and try to support people that way. That's meaningful. That shows the kind of person that or company that you are, and making that connection in a non-salesy kind of way is really, in my mind, it's really important right now.
And I think people really like to see us just being real, just sharing, what are we doing with our families? What are we eating today? I mean, like what tips and tricks do you have? Just because we're all humans, we're maybe not all in the same industry as our followers, but we're all just looking for something to do.
Well, yeah, then
so
I know
sharing the real life is important.
Yeah, people are definitely at home because there's over 1,000 people that signed up for this webinar, like for the series here. It's been an amazing response, and the number of people that see this. I know that the information that not just the builders and remodelers out there, but our customers, they want to figure things out and get information from us. So Spencer, you're the expert in the field here. What platforms do you recommend right now that people start looking at or invest in if they're already using them? What's really kicking right now?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that we have listed on the page are big ones. I think about these platforms really as a form of distribution. So the old model of marketing was, hey, I needed to pay to create a TV ad, and then I had to pay a ton to distribute that ad.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas social media, you pay in either time or money to create the content, but you can distribute it for free. Yeah. And so if you think about that, like distributing across as many of these platforms as you can, as often as you can, under the asterisks of, is this helpful? Is it adding value to my audience? You really can't post often enough as long as it's adding value. Right. But we're definitely seeing, Facebook is still a big one from just the demographic that's on Facebook in terms of lead gen. Instagram is a huge platform, especially since our industry is very photogenic, so to speak. Yeah. But we can leverage that platform. I know Emily has a lot of experience on that platform. And I would say anything video related. So that's going to put you on multiple platforms, but just look at those as distribution. I created this video, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then don't forget about Google My Business. That's your local map profile. Google Plus died. Google Business kind of was their way of saying, hey, you can post here now. Post once a week. You don't, more than that is a little overkill on the data that we've been seeing in terms of what you're going to get out of it. So yeah, I would say create, and then get it out there.
Yeah, that Google My Business is new to me. I'm not familiar with it. So do you have to have a Gmail account in order to get in there?
Yeah, so the Google My Business account, probably most people have it. If you don't, you definitely want to set it up. But that's when you do a local search for your company and you show up in the map. And you can see hours of operation and there's a link to your website. Google just made it so that you can actually post to that profile now, just like you could post to Facebook. And those posts expire every 7 days. So if you're posting once a week, you'll have an active post that shows up, but you'll probably get a little bit of a boost above your competitors because most people aren't posting to that profile right now. And so it helps you in that local map search in terms of ranking on Google.
Got it. And I think that all these platforms that we just went through and the posting you're talking about kind of funnels, to use a term, goes back to becoming an expert and showing expertise in your field, right? So it's if you can speak eloquently and fluidly about local issues and local concerns, you become the person in your segment that people think of when they're thinking of a builder or remodeler or construction professional. So keep that in mind. Let's look at a couple things. Emily, like I've been saying, your company is really great at reaching out and talking to people. So can you just walk us through a couple of these things? This is all from Instagram, right?
Yeah, you're looking at our profile page here, and the circles are just showing a few of the highlights that we have on our profile. So one of them is our virtual tours that we have available for our homes. We utilize the Matterport software and shoot our whole home so that people can walk through those at any time on their own pace. So we've got those linked in there. We have a series for design tips where I sit down with my lead designer and we talk about things that people can do in their home with what they've got. They don't have to go out and buy something new. They can sort of shift and restyle and shop their homes. And then we've got our local love highlight, which is us just pointing out things that are our favorites within. And then we also ask people to direct message us any of their favorite places too, so that we can go ahead and feature those. One of the big accounts here in our local area just did a big push for family takeout on Friday. So everybody was sharing with that hashtag their favorite local restaurants that they could support, and do they deliver? Do they do takeout? What are the options there? What are the hours? So that was really successful for us and got a lot of eyes on our stories.
And these are all stories, right? Like as a business, you can permanently make your stories part of your homepage. Is that right?
Right. So normally your story is going to disappear within 24 hours, but if you save it there in your highlights section, then that's something that your audience can access at any time.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I haven't personally figured that one out yet, but I'm hoping to. Maybe Spencer Powell can help me.
I think Emily's in a better position to do some training.
The other thing, and again, this is what I really love about Clark & Company is this. Can you just explain this, Emily? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, so like I said before, the digital downloads really grew out of the fact that we were just getting asked the same questions again and again, and they were from people all over the world, really, that would just email us and say, tell me where I can get that sofa, or what is that paint color, what is that light? And it was actually taking up a lot of my staff time to answer phone calls and respond to emails, or else we were just going to have to ignore them. So it's just took us, a couple hours to take all those selections from any particular home and format it into a PDF document that we could put up on our website, and people can preview that and pay for it right there on the website. And then that shows you just an example there where you're seeing the Newport, that's the cover page, and then the exterior, it's going to show you all of the selections that we've used on the exterior, and then it goes on to all of the different categories for selections within the home. That's one of our products, and then another is we actually take all of our house plans, and we've got them available as a layout option and also as a dimension floor plan. They're not buildable construction sets because we're not really interested in going into the legalities of every every place around the country, but this does give people a bit of a head start if they want to take those layouts to their architect or their draftsman in their area and get a set of plans drawn up, then they could do that.
That makes so much sense. You guys have a side hustle that is directly related to your main hustle, right? I mean, that's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm friends with a guy, builder down in Florida, who's got a takeoff spreadsheet that he sells as a digital download, and he does some social media stuff to promote it. But he makes $500 a day, $500 a day, which is amazing. You know, just something that he had sitting on the shelf.
Well, it's pretty awesome to be, you know, cooking dinner in your house. You get a PayPal notice that someone's, you know, put some money in your account. I mean, that's kind of fun. We've accrued, you know, about 40 grand so far with these downloads, and these are just like $20 a pop. They add up fast. So
that's real money.
Work for me once we've done that.
Yeah. That is great. That's super. Pays for that spaghetti, right? For dinner. That was a joke.
That's right.
That was totally like flat. The technology didn't help us on that joke. But let's move on. So discussion number 4. It's sharpening your saw. This is the part of these webinars where we try to give you some tips, some things to consider. This one's for your business. You know, some tools to consider. How do you manage the leads that you produce? Like, you know, you're bringing things in. Ideally, you're bringing folks in that are interested in your business at some point through some way. What are you doing to bring those in? And there's a bunch of different ways. I'm going to tell you that using your leads section in CoConstruct, and we'll show you a picture of that next, but that's a great way of doing the tactical, like the operational side of tracking your leads that are coming in. But let's talk about like marketing tools and calendars for content. You know, what do you use, Emily, and what do you recommend, Spencer?
Yeah, so I have an employee dedicated specifically to, she's called our media integrator. So she keeps up our website and she helps me schedule all of our social media posts. And when I'm, you know, shooting videos, I can send them over to her and she can format those and get them up quickly for me in our stories. That was especially helpful to me when I was at KBIS this year. I was there with a design influencer group, and to be able to send her things and have her get those up was really helpful. So we use Trello a lot just to get our ideas out and start figuring out when we want to release certain things, and then she'll go ahead and put those on Google Calendar. And then as far as just the actual posting, we use a program called Tailwind, which we can build all of our content into Tailwind, and then it will shoot it out into Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. We're doing a ton of Pinterest right now, especially with those digital downloads. So we want to drive as much traffic to our website as possible, and Pinterest is doing that for us. So that's how we're keeping everything, all of those things that we're juggling together.
Yeah. Spencer, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few software tools out there. So the ones that we have listed here are great. We're a big proponent of HubSpot as kind of a marketing and sales tool set. It's a little more broadly focused. They have a CRM. It's actually free. So if you're not using a CRM and you want something that's pretty robust, they have a really good one. But then it's connected to a suite of marketing tools that can power your blog, your website, your social media, but also your lead capture and conversion. So if you have a digital download, whether you're charging for it or it's a free kind of to capture a lead, you can build those pages there. We also use Trello, just like Emily and her team do, and then our team is a little bit split. So some of them also use Asana, and there's kind of a battle of those two project management tools, but they're both really solid. And then we're huge fans of Canva for creating design graphics for social media. That's an awesome tool as well.
Yep. Yeah, I use that too. I love Trello. We've talked about it a bunch on these webinars. It's just a great way to move ideas around and document ideas. And let's talk about content creation. And I know, that's what you do, right, Spencer? That's kind of your business. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, a lot of our clients don't want to write blogs or do social media. So that's where we step in and we execute that for them. but also just in the spirit of like giving people options. There's sites like Freelancer and Upwork or Fiverr.com where if you need like quick video editing or things like graphics being created, you can get stuff done on pretty quick turnarounds if you're not looking for like a full-blown program. And so if you're able to at least like create or ideate, and then you can pitch it to somebody on one of these sites and they can take it the rest of the way. So I would say I always think about when I go to create content or think about creating content and go, what are our internal skill sets and what are the best uses of our time? I would say probably video is something you should be recording, maybe not editing and finalizing. Blogging might be easier to outsource if you're not a strong writer. If you love writing, maybe you're going to go that route. So think about like what's really easy for you and comes naturally, spend your time there, and then just try to outsource the rest of it so that you can, cover your bases there.
Yeah. Emily, are you writing most of your stuff, or is your staff writing it? Where are you coming up with?
Yeah, myself and my media integrator do most of the writing, and we're always looking for ways to repurpose our content and reformat it for different platforms. So whatever we're going to share in our newsletter, we can turn that into a blog post or even an Instagram post. It can be edited down to something smaller. So yeah, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel every single time. You really can take one idea and stretch it really quite far.
Yeah, that's great. So, on the next thing on the slide we talk about is finding your tribe. Like now, more than ever, it's really important to have your grasp on folks in the industry that you can reach out to and talk to and figure things out. And so, I put a couple of resources down there. I'm a big proponent, obviously, of the CoConstruct community. There's thousands and thousands of people out there, and we're sharing a lot of good information about what's happening now, also how to use the system, best business practices, and so on. I've always liked Facebook groups. There's the Remodelers Forum that's out there. There's several different good ones that are great places to kind of congregate online and ask questions and hear people's answers. And then, of course, messaging people on Instagram, tracking what they're doing, seeing if they're doing okay, and seeing how they're reacting to the scenario. And then, Spencer, Powell, you mentioned this one earlier to me, and it's a great one. Peer groups, right? Not everyone has a Builder 20 group they can be part of, but there's a lot of groups. You can find that in the CoConstruct community. What are some of the other ones, Spencer? Do you know of other ones that people could join?
In terms of mastermind groups,
yeah,
it's interesting. I think sometimes some of the best ways to form a mastermind are actually creating your own. So like jumping into like the CoConstruct, like you said, there's probably thousands of people in there, but as you're watching discussions and participating and asking questions, you'll start to kind of find people you resonate with, and you might reach out to 3 of them and just say, hey, what if we jump on a monthly call and we just share, this is what I'm doing that's working, how are you handling this? You do a little Q&A. Suddenly you've got a mastermind. We don't have to overcomplicate it. I think sometimes we need these like formal processes and everything, but it's like, we're all going through this together. Nobody has all the answers. Like right. What we're sharing here is just what we're doing. I would hope that other people have ideas too, and we can all collaborate and share those. So I like doing it that way, because then you already kind of know, hey, this group's going to be pretty good. I like these people, and we're all trying to help.
That's happening like out on our community. We can create sub communities that only certain builders can get into if they want to form a group, and we've had some builders approach us about doing that. We've done that. So if you're interested in creating your own circle of builders, your own peer group, shoot me an email, get in touch with me, and we can set that up for you. And it's really a fantastic tool. We've got people doing calls on the weekends, calls in the evening, asking questions, like triaging what's happening right now. It's fantastic. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I said, like 2/3 of the people.
That's been a game changer for us too, Spencer.
Has it? Okay. You're involved, right?
It has, yeah. I'm in a couple. Yeah, I'm in a group with some about 40 other designers around the country, which is great. I'm in, besides our Builder 20 Club, we've also got a group of 75 builders around the country that are all in a group to support each other. And I think that's the best thing about this whole situation is we're so much more connected than we were back in 2008 when things were really going downhill, and just to have that support network where we can just hop on there and be like, listen, I'm struggling with this, what would you do?
Yeah.
It's been awesome. It's like total game changer for us in terms of feeling like we're not alone and we're able to pivot quickly and get some really good advice.
It is. It's so different. Like 2008, I'm laying awake, trying to figure out, is this major multi-million-dollar decision I'm about to make going to sink me or help me? And there was no one else to go to out there, and now I see people asking questions, getting real answers, getting documents, getting contract copies, getting advice from people who've been there and done that. It's a totally different thing, and it's absolutely amazing. There is no more island. You might be on an island, and you better be 6 feet apart, but it's an island that have a lot of people on it, and a lot of groups that are helping each other. So again, 2/3 of the people on this call are actual CoConstruct users. Again, I talked about tactically using the leads. This is not drip marketing. We don't send out emails that market or send newsletters through CoConstruct, but you can definitely see what your runway is. You can put what your pipeline is in the system, give it a rating, and look at how much revenue you might have coming in. Really important to know how your pipeline's performing. And again, you can put the code on your website that allows your contacts to go in here, so you can manage them from within your company. So let's go through some more I want to make some time to get to questions here if we've got any coming in. This sounds like we're getting questions in two main themes, but I want to give you some more resources. I've got one big long list of books from this Spencer, that other Spencer, I don't know which Spencer, and then one specific book from me. So Spencer Powell's book list is just huge out on his website. And you're an avid reader, right, Spencer?
Yeah, it was funny in college. I always didn't like reading because I had to read what somebody else was telling me to read. And then I got out of school and I was like, oh man, I can pick what I want to read. And so I read a lot on, leadership, marketing, sales, personal development. I'm just a huge fan of that space, investing, all those kind of topics. So, but I post about that. And so then people said, oh, well, which do you recommend or whatever? And so I was like, I'm just going to put the whole list online so people can see it. So I try to keep it pretty up to date. I think I probably need to update it. It's been about a week since you snagged that one. So
well, I've got a 2019's list from your website printed off, and it's sitting over in my book cabinet, and I try to keep up with it. But Emily, I didn't get a chance. We talked earlier today. I didn't get a chance to put your book out there. But what's the book that you were saying is important to you right now?
Yeah, it's called Essentialism. I think it's the disciplined pursuit of less. And it just seems really appropriate right now. It's talking about, really digging deep, both personally and professionally, and what editing out all of that noise and what's most important and what's going to just ultimately lead to the best success for you as a person and as a business. Really enjoyed it.
That's great. That's super. So that was essentialism, right? And
yeah,
for people that are just listening. And then the book I chose for this webinar was Tribes. It's a really short book, but it talks about connecting with groups of people in your life, whether it be in your business or your personal life, and making a difference by being passionate about what it is that you're connecting on. And the quote that I pulled out of it that I really enjoyed was, many people are starting to realize that they work a lot and that working on the stuff they believe in is much more satisfying than just putting in the time and waiting around to die. And, if you can't enjoy what you're doing, man, you're spending a majority of your life not doing a good thing. So just if you get a chance, grab any of these books that we're talking about. Some links right here. Spencer Powell's got a great social media guide. This will be again on my Instagram page, and we're going to send a link to this, so you don't have to scratch all that down. Some of the other things that we've talked about are out here. I'm going to give a pitch on Builder Funnel Radio. It's a great podcast. I say great because you invited me on it, and I really appreciate that. And we had a great conversation. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. You can get that podcast anywhere that you get podcasts, and Spencer's full of good humor and good advice. And then this Builder Builder Funnel Academy thing, Spencer, could you just, it's for your 10th anniversary, which you said is tomorrow, right? And then what is that all about?
Yeah, so yeah, we turn 10 tomorrow. It's kind of crazy. It just goes by in a flash. But we've been working on this project for several months, and we decided, hey, we're going to kind of bottle up everything we've learned doing digital marketing for builders and remodelers in dozens of different markets and say, like, here's the top performing campaigns, the top blog posts, the top strategies. So we could kind of see at a global level, like what's worked over a long period of time in the digital marketing space, because it changes so quickly. So that's what that's all about.
That's great. So we can, we'll figure out how to get that information out to people, but I'm assuming they can just look up Builder Funnel Academy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's look at this webinar summary. Just 4 things to take away. Get the right message out. Be sensitive and don't be annoying. I think we got that covered. Use this time as an opportunity to invest in your marketing assets. Pivot to meet the evolving needs of your customer. Keep your ear to the ground. Figure out what they need and be light on your feet and pivot that message so that you're connecting with them. Explore the tools that help you get your message out. There's that list that we just went through, and there's the other ones you'll get in this summary when it comes out. Okay, so that's the webinar summary. I want to really quickly talk about something new that's coming up this Friday, April 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to start a weekly series with me. It's called the Dumpster Fireside Chat. And listen, there's not going to be any slideshows. There's not going to be any bullshit. This is just me sitting down and talking about the real world with anyone who wants to participate. It's kind of an open mic session. It'll be an hour. We're going to do this once a week. We're going to try to share all the latest and greatest stuff in terms of just what's going on in the world. Won't necessarily always be about COVID-19, but I'm sure that's going to be coming up. You can get more information at my Instagram page at Builder in Residence, and I'll be posting links and so on for people that are interested in that. So
my question on that is, are you going to be wearing the bow tie like that?
I probably won't be wearing the bow tie, but there might be something in that glass. So bourbon is optional for anyone attending. It will be the afternoon on Friday. And I know we're all home, so that's that. I want to thank everybody for coming out. If you're some of those folks that are not in CoConstruct already, there is a demo going on today at 3 p.m. Eastern. That website down there is where you want to go. We'll also be sending out a message in a couple minutes that'll have a link to that. Again, if you're not already following me on Instagram, I try to keep it interesting. I try to keep it real. And I try to connect with everybody at the basic level. So, Spencer Powell, Emily Clark, thank you guys so much for being here today. It's been great. If you got a couple minutes to stick around, I think that we'll take some questions. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, anyone that wants to hang out, we're going to go ahead and do some questions. We've got Caroline from CoConstruct who's been kind of talking to folks and seeing what's coming in. So, Caroline, are you out there?
I am.
What do we have?
Okay, so a couple of common themes, and I think a lot of people can relate to this first one. It says, how many companies have a dedicated person for marketing or social media? As a co-founder with my husband, we're overwhelmed with doing all of the things necessary in the business: sales, scheduling, subcontracts, accounting. Basically, when do people find time for marketing? And who's the one actually doing it?
I think we got 2 versions of that right here on with us. So Emily, why don't you take a stab at that first?
Yeah, so we hired a girl that is actually an interior designer by trade, but so she comes at it, our marketing with that perspective, which was really important for me. She works on our website, keeping things updated, getting new plans out there, getting our digital downloads formatted, scheduling our content with me. As far as, she'll make sure the content is scheduled in the Tailwind app for me, and then I handle all of the commenting and responding and engagement with our audience still. That was still something really important for me to hold on to. And it helps me figure out where their heads are at as far as like what we're putting out there and what they like and what they don't like. But she works 20 to 30 hours a week on our media.
And I will tell you that before you answer, Spencer, when I was in Chicago, we had an agency that just took care of our website, And then we had a member of the family, our company, that helped post pictures. And then we all kind of contributed. The architects contributed to some content, and we even had some of our superintendents talk about maintaining the home and things like that. So that's how we did it. Now, Spencer, you've got you are this, right? Like, explain what you.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, anybody that's working with us is saying, hey, I'm going to at least use an agency for most or all of my digital marketing or big chunks of it. We're typically working directly with the owner, or I would say that's the most common. Less common is we're working with one marketing director or coordinator. Sometimes it's an office manager that's also tasked with marketing, and so then they're in the same boat where they're just strapped for time. And so I think the key is always thinking about what are the things you want to execute on, and then just assigning them. And I love what you said about kind of doing it by committee. That's what we do at our company, is everyone plays a role in marketing, even if it's just a couple hours a week. And so if you can tag people and say, hey, where can this person contribute? Even if it's just, I'm going to interview them for 20 minutes on this one topic, and now I've got a blog post. I could shoot it on video. I could create, like Emily said earlier, multi-purpose that content. So think about what you have in-house and where you can kind of extract some resource time. But when you're smaller, it's tough. You're wearing lots of hats, and so I think you just have to commit to that time. And when I first started our business, it was from 6 to 10 at night, and I was personally inviting a lot of people on LinkedIn to attend webinars, and you kind of grind it out. And it's a grind, but if you either have to invest time or money, and so it's just a decision. And then I think you can figure out, okay, where am I going to put that time or money after that?
If I can just say, for the person who asked that question, if you want some inspiration, go seek out Dan Duvall and Duvall Homes. He's in Dayton, Ohio, and look at his Instagram feed. Dan builds amazing custom homes, and it's him and his wife, and that's it. And Dan's Instagram is in the top 10 of all home builders in construction, residential construction online. And he takes good pictures, and he finds the time, the moments in between the inspections and going to and from his truck, and waiting for meetings and things like that, to post great content. And I think key to that is getting these systems that we talked about set up, and then just executing on those systems. Right? It's getting that first system started and that out there. And by the way, if you don't have time to do it, and you are one of the folks that aren't using CoConstruct, shameless pitch, no doubt. Get on CoConstruct and make yourself some extra time. So that's absolutely shameless pitch. So what other questions do we have?
Spencer,
yeah.
One more, I think. So I'm just starting out on social media, and I worry that my pictures don't look professional enough. Is there any equipment that you would suggest for someone just starting out?
Cool. That's a great question. Emily, you got anyone?
Well, most everybody's got an iPhone in their pocket these days, and they can take some pretty amazing pictures. I think if you just Googled an iPhone course, you really can put together some pretty decent content from your own phone. I mean, we use the Lightroom app a lot to retouch our photos if we're doing site visit photos to make those look better for our website. But we've always been really committed to professionally photographing all of our projects. And so because of that, we've got a lot of content available to us, and then we can take that and recrop it in different ways and reshare those same photos, and they look different just based on how allowed us to stretch our content pretty far.
That's great. What about you, Spencer? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you've got to commit to getting professional photography done. It's kind of, it feels a little bit like it's table stakes now with being the channels we have to market ourselves, being social media and our website. People, you want that to highlight your best, because that's where people are going to find you. That's oftentimes the first time they're going to see the product that you produce. And so you want that to be really good. I mean, I think Emily's suggestion is great. Like, if you don't have the budget for that, you really can't figure that part of it out yet. Then yeah, the iPhone in your pocket plus some Google searches on how to best utilize that. But I really would strongly advise, like, commit to professional photography, and then you can do multiple things with it after.
Yeah, and you
Well,
can
if you don't even have very many projects yet, I mean, there's incredible things you can do with renderings right now. We use a software called Chief Architect to produce our plans, and then we can take the 3D renderings produced and then ray trace those. So they look photorealistic. So that's something that you can put out there as content. Something I like to do also is just gather the materials and put them into
I think we lost Emily there, but I'm gonna step.
a picture of a completed project.
Emily, we
Can you hear
lost
me
you.
now?
We lost you. So what did you say? You said gather
Oh.
materials.
Yeah, so just another thing I'll do is I'll gather a lot of the samples and things that I'm using for a particular home and put together a flat lay mood board and shoot that from above and use that for content. Or I'll produce an actual digital mood board and I can use that for feed post material. There's just a lot of things that you can do besides a finished complete project. And I would say it doesn't have to be a finished, beautiful product anymore. People really like to see the progression of your job. So take photos at those site visits, at framing stage, at drywall. I mean, talk about what's happening next, and then really like put that into your stories and really like give some background about what's coming. People like to feel invested in your project and anticipate what's to come.
I think the theme there is don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? Like get out there and get it done.
Right.
In every podcast, every webinar, the first one is a lot worse than the 10th one. And it's the same thing with social media interaction, right? So I think that, you can do the things as a consumer of social media. Like when I stop on something and look at it, it's because it's interesting to me. So make it interesting. Grab one of those, the drones and take some pictures around your community. If you're starting a lot, do a fly through, that kind of stuff. And by all means, like, just please, this is a pet peeve of mine. So I'm going to say it right now. If you're going to take a picture of yourself in the bathroom mirror, at least have a sense for what's going on in the background, right? No open toilets or anything like that. Just be careful, folks, if you're going to go it on your own, okay? Caroline, we got anything else? I think we're getting close here.
Yep, we have one last one. This is a little bit more tricky, but
Okay.
I think you guys can tackle it. So they said you guys have great suggestions for messaging and updates to customers when you're still able to work. Any suggestions for when you're not? So this person specifically is in New York. Construction there is considered non-essential, and looking for kind of what they can say to their audience in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you some real quick responses from all the builders that I've talked to across the country who are not able to work, and that is, number one, if they're your current customers, keep them on the bubble, keep them working on things. Make sure that you're reaching out and doing the Zoom calls with them. Make sure that you're keeping things moving forward. Tell them, hey, we're doing what's best for our country. We're doing what's best for each other right now, but this is going to stop at some point. And when it stops, the effect of construction, when it starts back up, the first people that can schedule with our trades and our suppliers are going to get the first materials. So be ready. Take the time now and be ready for what's coming. Get all your selections done, the ones that they don't necessarily have to touch. And then, just go into being real and sharing the things that you're learning every day. That's what I'm hearing from builders. Any comments there, Spencer or Emily, about what advice you would give to people who can't get out and actually work?
Yeah, I mean, I love those
No,
comments.
I would just talk about, go ahead, Spencer.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I love the concept of just moving the ball forward as much as you can in every phase that you're at. So I think what you said is awesome. But I think if you're looking for maybe a couple of other, creative, tactical things, doing kind of those, maybe doing a call in exchange for a review where somebody has some questions and you can answer them over the phone or you can help them out, I think is a great one. And then just booking, since you can't do construction, booking as many sales meetings as possible, design meetings as possible, and then setting those out and just saying, great, like you're in the queue. We know there's going to be a huge backlog, but at least then you're saying, hey, I'm unable to produce revenue or I can't produce work right now. So how can I stack this up for the future? And so, setting design meetings, setting sales meetings, just being on the phone with as many prospects as you can, and do it over video so you can connect, human to human. Those are a few things, but I like the idea of being able to reach out and just help people over the phone. And if you need to trade that time for dollars, just like you would otherwise, and that way you can support, bringing in a little bit of revenue. But sorry, Emily, go ahead.
Yeah, we got 1 minute left here, Emily. So go ahead.
That was all good things. I agree.
Okay, was that it? That's great. Okay, you know what? And that pairs well with what's coming up on Thursday's webinar. That particular question, I would say all of those are great things for reaching out to your customers, but let's bring it back to center and let's talk about getting paid. You guys, you need to go chase the cash that's sitting out there on the street. If you have AR that's uncollected, you got to try to collect that stuff. People are going to stop writing checks. You've got to look at what checks you can write. You've got to be able to run your businesses, right? So getting into what we're going to be talking about on Thursday is financial triage in a crisis, right? We had the CARES Act come out on Friday. We've been talking to some experts that work with builders across the country, trying to pull pertinent content out of that CARES Act that will be directly applicable to you as a builder. So, join us again on Thursday, same time Thursday. We'll be sending out information about it. But again, I want to thank everybody for being here. Emily, Spencer P., great to have you. Thank you so much for sharing with the customers out here. Remember, about 5 minutes from now, you'll be able to download this slideshow from the link in my bio on Builder and Residents at Instagram. And please think about joining me on Friday at 1 p.m. for the Dumpster Fireside Chat. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.